I will be selling all my Bitcoin on this next move up. This is the BTC I've been holding since the sub 20k region. We just recently tested all-time highs, and very soon here we could get another test. And assuming resistance cracks and we go into price discovery, I think a strong aggressive move follows between the regions of 80 to 100,000. And at that point, I will sell all my Bitcoin, and as well as all the altcoins I think I've made enough gains on. And if you think I'm saying this because I'm bearish, I'm not. This is a combination of precautionary measures as well as hitting my personal goals. I'll address each right now, starting with my goals. So everyone keeps asking, what is the exit strategy? When do I sell? For me, the best exit strategy has always been just based on personal goals, shaping up and fine-tuning your portfolio to exit at milestones of 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 250, 500k, 1 million has always been the best exit plan in my opinion. Because with the alternatives of trying to sell the top, where you think you have the skill to tell when a top is coming in, from my experience usually ends very bad for most people. Especially I think if you're in your first or second cycle. If we break high soon, I sort of want to lay it all out there and summarize pretty much everything I've talked about on this channel, because at that time it's going to be peak euphoria and we're going to be caught in this loop of retail wanting to hear that their bags are going higher and different KOLs realizing that's what the viewer wants, and so putting that out there, and just this nasty cycle of little level-headed commentary. And I think my opening with just refortifying how important it is to take profits is the perfect way to start. And so when I say I'm taking profits on the next move up, it's not because I'm bearish. I think these higher price targets are totally fair. 120, 150k, 200k, 100% reasonable. But I've been talking about this idea of a left translated cycle. The nuances do not matter. All I'm trying to say is that we could top earlier than usual. The expected normal top would be next October 2025. We got that down. We understand. I just think along the way, you want to be prepared for anything that could happen. And you can do that by simply just being open-minded. Where in the case that we do go vertical to 100,000, you don't get caught up in the overwhelming, I think, groupthink of this is just the beginning. I think it is so fair to see Bitcoin break out, go vertical for a couple weeks, put in a top, and call it a wrap for this cycle. In case you forgot, the stock market has already been in a huge bull market. 70% off lows, price discovery since January of this year, gold, same thing, Nasdaq, same thing, Dow Jones, same thing, Nifty, DE40, Nikkei. It is literally only our Bitcoin that is yet to go into that stage. And make no mistake about it, I definitely think we enter that stage. All of the indicators have bottomed out. Search results, rankings as low as ever. I'm actually very bullish and optimistic on the price action yet to come. I'm simply suggesting that instead of looking at it as we're just starting, with everything I just said, with our Bitcoin still being the last thing yet to run, would it not make sense to look at it as this is sort of like the final act? Unemployment is looking to go vertical akin to how it has in the past when coinciding with notable drawdowns, the uninversion of the yield curve. Point is, if I'm not going to say this to you, who is? And the best part of it all, nothing happens and we keep going. Who cares? Because October 2025 is still going to happen. Okay, but with that out the way, in terms of altcoins, if we get that earlier top than normal, then obviously things get a little complicated. This cycle already wasn't looking that good for most altcoins. We probably wouldn't have had enough liquidity to rotate anyways, something I've talked about time and time again. But in the scenario that we top soon, couple weeks, couple months, then it's probably going to be a no-show for most of them. But here's how I'm going to play it. Okay, so if that happens, right? Most altcoins then have probably topped for the cycle. It's not a y-axis component, we're talking about a time component. So with everything I just laid out, for your altcoin, whatever it is, ask yourself, if Bitcoin tops in 8 weeks, will there be enough time, attention, and liquidity to get my altcoin back to all-time highs and then some? And I understand that you're holding your altcoins because you have that type of conviction, which is fine, but there's a way to cheat this by getting into those few altcoins that are most ready for that type of situation. So for example, SUI, the attention economy as of late is certainly there. In terms of price, just made new highs. Strength versus Bitcoin, also there. The caveat would obviously be that SUI is very high at 5 billion, but in a fight or flight type of scenario where only a handful of crypto crypto are running because of their strength, I think something like that quickly gets thrown out the window. Now, Sui may be an exception because it's very strong right now, but a tip to differentiate strong versus weak coins is to see if that altcoin is holding its 50% drawdown level. So what I want you to do is take your altcoin and measure where its current price action is relative to either its all-time high or the local top it made in March of this year. So for example, something like Super is 25% down from the high it made in March, and that is extremely healthy. And the Bitcoin chart is down around 30%, which is even better. The crypto showing this type of strength are few and far between, but I'll state some of them right now. So we have Solana with both USD and Bitcoin, as well as toncoin, Tau, and aave, popcat, Jupiter, Mantra. Kaspa is holding the 50% drawdown with only USD, not Bitcoin. Fantom are both very close. Raydium, Mu, and aerodrome is pretty much there. Mog and Pepe, as expected, a lot of memes showing up, but check for yourself, and if you're confused about any coin, you could comment it. I'll get back to you, but point is, there's a very decent likelihood that all the crypto mentioned have not topped, and in the event of a fast parabolic Bitcoin top, we should at the very least expect these crypto run with Bitcoin. They're not better. These crypto are not better. That's not the point. In a normal cycle, there's a very decent and in fact high likelihood that many other crypto outperform, but this is just a precautionary measure in case that doesn't happen. Also, I was thinking that if you're holding some of these stronger crypto, could you do something like, okay, maybe you're holding Sui and Tau, and you're holding them in case of this so-called quick top, right? And because these are stronger than some other crypto, we're expecting at the very least that they run with Bitcoin and hopefully continue to run for at least a little bit after that Bitcoin top is in. From that point, could you then see that, okay, I'm looking to see if Bitcoin puts in a blow off top pattern or a Bart Simpson pattern? As remember, once Bitcoin's done, we expect some of these altcoins to keep going for at least a little bit. If Bitcoin tops, great, right? You're in the altcoins that at least ran. But if Bitcoin continues going with a possible projection of a top in, let's say, March or even October next year, could I then roll my capital from that Tau and Sui to some of these other altcoins that now sort of have the green light to also get some action, instead of putting that money into those altcoins right now and hoping that they run with Bitcoin eventually? Everything I said could be summarized in the context of pro-action instead of reaction, but an actual summary. Okay, listen carefully. The macro is not looking that good. Crypto and Bitcoin have never been in the current conditions that they are right now. Things may not be just starting, instead they could be ending. This final Bitcoin fifth wave could be the last hurrah. Altcoins will run with it, will outperform it, but confined to just a few due to the barrier of liquidity and timing. And most importantly, regardless of if you think a top comes in a few weeks, March or October, be ready to take profits, the number one thing that no one does. But I will leave it there for now. Obviously, if there's anything I see, any new updates, I'll post about it right away. So subscribe for that. And if there's any community type of questions that you guys have, you can comment it or reach out to me on my Instagram, as I find the questions there are more genuine and less bots and whatever. But yeah, until next time.